All right.
Okay. Hello, hello, hello. What is good, fam? I'm so excited to be able to do this live today. So it's your girl Esther Joy. You already know we like to talk about love, light, joy, and peace. And we got our soul family, Thai spiritual up in the house. Okay,
In the
like
building.
you already know. You already know. So this is gonna be a really exciting live stream. You know, we've been talking about it. It's been something that I
Yep.
really do feel led to say is needed. And so, thank you everyone who is joining us, whether you're live or watching the replay. We appreciate you. And yeah, Ty, I think I've known you for like now over a year, and
Yeah,
I'm really
it's been
thankful.
over here.
Yeah, that we've been able to like grow in understanding. And I feel like this topic in particular is something that both of us have a lot of energy in, and we've had a lot of experience. Now, that's not to say that we perfect, but you know,
No,
yeah,
far from
but
that.
I think that there is a lot that in my heart felt led to, connect with Ty and have this live because it is an important topic to talk about. And you already know, Ty, is there anything you want to say?
Well,
Any intro?
well, for my supporters that are watching, Ty Spiritual, and I'm back with another live stream, man. Simple for them. But for the people of Esther Joy's channel, I've been into spirituality for at least about around, I think, going on 2 years right now. Um, it honestly changed my life in every single way possible because when I was growing up, I always felt like things were off on this planet. I always felt like I was foreign to this planet. And around 2018, 2019, I started to get the feeling that I lived before, but I didn't know. Every time I tried to remember that past life, it was blocked by something. So that eventually led me to coming across spirituality. Now, today we're going to be talking about porn, sexual energy, semen retention, and how you can use that energy to your benefit because a lot of people are dealing with addictions. I've dealt with addictions. Esther Joy has dealt with addictions. So if you're dealing with this right now, don't feel ashamed. That's one of the main things we want you guys to understand. If you want to share in the comments, you can share.
This is a
And if
safe
you don't
space.
want to share in the comments, I'm pretty sure you can message Esther Joy on Instagram. You can message me on Instagram, and we could have a discussion there. But understand that we are not above anybody watching this stream. We're not above. Whether you're watching it live right now or you're watching the replay, we are not above you at all. Okay, we are just people that have reached a point where we feel like we've overcame it, so we're just giving back based off our experience to you guys to help you. Okay, so that's
Yeah,
pretty much what I have to say.
period. I think that it takes a lot to be able to talk about this topic in particular. A lot of people
Yep.
feel like it's so taboo, and there's also so much shame that comes with it that a lot of the times it's like we hide from even mentioning, like, oh, what? Like, I
Yeah,
don't watch porn. Like, porn, what's that?
and
What do
they
you
know
mean?
they do,
Exactly. It's like you're
and they know
not
they do.
fooling nobody. So it's important to have this conversation because it's something that, again, is really near and dear to our hearts. We've been there, we know how it's like, we know what kind of energy. And I think it's really important at this time to just dive right in and talk about it. And I'm kind of curious and I kind of want to like jump in a little bit about, our kind of experience with it. And Ty, I don't know if you want me to share first or you want to share, you know?
I'll go first. I'll go first. Now, again, I want to briefly mention the people that are in the stream. Um,
Nice, Isaac.
Insidious, Daydreamer, Nero, Sun God, Isaiah. Appreciate you guys all for tuning in. And everyone that's watching, please make sure you subscribe to Esther Joy's channel. That's from my channel. Or anybody that hasn't subscribed to her yet, she posts great content. Now, to get into my personal experiences, all right. Now, like Esther Joy said, when people ask each other, do you watch porn? Do you watch porn? Most people will say no. And they say no, not because it's true, but because it's shame there. Okay. One of the intentions of this live stream is to remove that shame from you. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that just go out here and just blurt out everything about porn to every single person you meet. No, but you should be able to express these things comfortably, okay, with somebody that you trust. because some people are together, they're in a relationship, and they don't trust each other enough to reveal these things. Okay, and that can cause problems. Now, when it comes to my own addictions, let me think back. I'm gonna mention a time where I just mentioned to Esther Joy prior to this live stream starting. I used to work at Walmart around 2019. All right. Now, we're gonna be real here on the stream. We're gonna be respectful. Okay, we're gonna be real here. I had an addiction to interracial porn. Okay, I had an addiction to that. Now, I used to work in a place where there was a lot of Caucasian women, Walmart. A lot of Caucasian women come through there. Now, every time I seen one of these women, every time I saw one of these women, the first thing I thought about was sex. That's the first thing. How she would look doing this, that, this, that, this, that. I could not look at a Caucasian woman without thinking about sex and thinking about the things that I've seen from porn. Okay. So the things that I was watching from that screen were projecting into my reality and the way that I saw things. And that proved to me that I was still living in my lower chakras. Okay. I say that to say this, and I'm pretty sure we're going to speak on this later, but the things that you watch when you're watching porn can greatly affect your vibrational frequency because you are receiving energy from that, especially when you orgasm, when you reach that point of bliss, wherever your thoughts are in that moment, when you do that, that's going to greatly manifest in your reality. Okay, whether it happens sooner or happens later, because that energy is very, very powerful. And we're going to talk about later how to transmute that energy. But that was just one of my experiences where I realized that the porn I was watching was affecting me negatively to the point where I had to literally just step back and just think like, man, I can't look at one of these Caucasian women without thinking that way. Okay. Now, for
Mm.
the people that are aspiring to be spiritual, when you look at somebody, you're trying to see them in their totality. When I say totality, I mean this, not just in the physical sense. Okay. You want to be able to tap into their energy, the aura that's around them, feel their energy. That's what you want to be able to tap into, not just the physical. Because just because somebody, the body, may look appealing to you, does not mean that that is the necessary energy you want to take upon yourself. And we're going to talk about that a little later on transmuting sexual energy and how that energy is passed. But that's just one of my experiences where I was addicted to pornography. And also to add one more, I also used to watch a lot of things that would make people be like, what? He watches that? Like, that's crazy. And it's very easy to feel ashamed about those things because the reality of the situation is this: everybody has certain things that are going to peak their mind to reach that sexual bliss. Okay. And they may seem weird to other people. That's going to happen. That's inevitable. All right. But the thing is, as long as it's safe and as long as it's legal, don't be ashamed of the things that you like. Because Esther Joy made a video, and I can't not remember the title, but it was about kinks. And she was talking about kinks. And at the time, I didn't have that perspective. So I was watching and she was explaining how kinks can correlate to things that traumas that you face, insecurities that you have, things that you have bottled up inside you, inner child healing. When she was talking about the kinks like daddy and mommy and all that thing, I was like, man, that is really, really true. So if you haven't watched her video on kinks, make sure you do that as well. But anyways, that's just a few of my experiences.
Yeah, blessings. Like you hit on a really big point. Like I know I was talking to you about, I have a friend which literally she has watched so much porn that she's so horrified of getting in a relationship because she doesn't want to do what she's seen in porn. And
Yeah.
so this is like one of my best friends. And now she's like paralyzed with the thought of ever dating someone and will self sabotage any opportunity she gets because of this kind of understanding of how she was risen with understanding porn was how she saw people were giving and receiving that kind of connection. So that was just like, that's my friend. You know, I have other friends that like they can't look or talk to a woman because,
Yeah.
again, you know, they think of those things. And I know for myself, like I started getting really into watching porn actually when I started dating someone.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like I was just like watching porn more. I was comparing them to what I was watching, and I was never really satisfied. And so I started isolating
Hmm.
myself more. I started watching porn more and more. And it got to the point where I was telling you, like, I would look at a doorknob and I'd see boobies. I would just be seeing these things and I'd be like, wow, like this is like it's everywhere I go at this point. And so like it was getting weird. Like I couldn't look people in the eyes for a while. I felt like I
Hmm.
just want to go home and go back to watching what I was watching. Like it was really bad. I was like in high school and I went from like doing all of these things to literally like just going home watching porn.
Yeah.
Like it like melted the mind. And I thought like, oh, this is fine. Like this is just what I like to do in my spare time. This is just like a hobby I have, right? Like
Hmm.
all of these excuses. I was still in a relationship. It was crumbling because I would ignore their texts to watch porn whenever I got frustrated. How I coped was I would go watch porn. I decided like that dopamine, right, in my
Yeah.
mind that I was getting, that was better than actually going through the things that were actually happening in the real world, like
Yeah.
interacting with people, figuring out that
Escape
relationship. I
mechanism.
was exactly like I
Hmm.
think a lot, and you touched on it, right? Like we don't really
Hmm.
feel these souls right now, feel like we belong here on earth. And so some of us turn to porn for that kind of connection because that's the only place we find it. So that was kind of my story. And for a long time, I literally like did not know that it was a problem. Like it wasn't until my mom's like, "You can't even look me in the eyes. Like what's going on?"
Yeah. Something's
And
something's off about that.
right, it wasn't until like I realized what I wanted to do versus what I was doing, what I was saying, how I was presenting myself, like it was all off. And like you said, it's like that dopamine high, you're like, okay, that was awesome. Let me
Yeah.
get more. And it's like, you
Yeah.
gotta go
It's
deeper.
addicting.
You gotta go deeper. And it's like, when does it end? Right? Like, and oh
Exactly.
God, like afterwards you look at it and you're like, oh, I gotta like X out this immediately. Like,
Yeah. Go ahead and delete the
I don't
search
want
history.
anybody exactly. No, no, because again, it's just not something that you even want to admit to yourself that you're doing
Yeah.
that you're giving your energy to that.
And that's
But it's
shame.
exactly. So that like that right there was like a lot of disassociation. I'd be like, no, it's not like me, that's somebody else, but not taking responsibility for what I was choosing to do. So
Yeah.
that was a big one. Yeah.
And
And
that
like
the
yeah.
oh, you still got more to share?
No, no, you're good, you're good.
Okay. You also said something, and that triggered the experience. You said how your porn addiction caused you to have issues within your relationship. Now, I experienced that as well, mostly on my end towards her because we weren't doing the things that I seen that were being done there. So it led to me being less, how can I put this? Less aroused by her. Okay, to the point where we're doing things, foreplay and all that, and it comes time for the intercourse, but I'm not where I need to be in order to do that because I'm not engaged mentally. Because physically, I'm there with her. I'm right here. Mentally, I'm thinking about pornography and the things I see in there and how it's happening there. And the thing is that the way people see things, and that this goes into the problems of it, and we'll speak on that a little later. But the way people see things in porn, the way it happens in sex, that's not really how it happens in real life. It's not. So that can cause a detach between you and create distance between you and your partner. And when you said that, I was like, man, I just remembered that because and again, not to be too graphic or anything, but I tested it. I would try to get aroused by her, could not. Pull up my phone, open Twitter. This was years ago. Open Twitter, see something about porn. I'm right there. I'm like, okay, so I'm more here than there, and that should not be the case at all. And
Mm.
one more thing I want to say about experience, personal experience, and this goes a little bit into energy. Um, you can find yourself saying certain things that you would not normally say while you're watching that because the person in that pornography, they may be saying certain things and then you pick up on the energy and now you're saying certain things, so now their energy is transferring to you. And you also have to keep in mind that everything you say carries a vibrational frequency. So those words that you're speaking are now going towards creating and manifesting your reality. So it can also manifest things that you don't want in your reality. But that's just one more personal experience I want to share because I remembered it right when you
Yes.
said that.
Yes, no, like 100%. And I think that's gonna go into like I like what Anthony said, right? Like it's $1 billion industry because they're trying to control you and keep you in a low
Exactly.
animalistic, right? Those lower chakras. So yeah, like this is something that again with human trafficking, right? Pornhub had to remove like something
Hmm.
like 70% of their videos because they
A
couldn't
lot.
verify where they came from, right? A lot of them were technically illegal, like the human trafficking and other illegal things that were happening on that, like
Yeah.
that was real. And so when we released to them, and I know we are talking Ty about this, when we released to them, we didn't know that they were illegal. We didn't know
Nope.
that that energy was literally like so bad, like, but we released to it. And when we released
Hmm.
to it, we allowed that energy to go in that direction to
Yeah,
manifest.
because that
Like,
not to cut you off, but I'm gonna just say something that you can continue. Because in that moment, you take upon that full energy from that video to help you reach that point of bliss and what people call push you over the edge. So people need to remember that. Whatever you're watching, pay attention to that moment before you reach that point of what people call no return. Because you take upon all that energy. It's like a switch flips in your brain to the point where you know, okay, now I'm going to get there. And but you need something to get you there. This can be many things. But for the most part, people watching porn, it's things that they don't like. Really. It's just that when you're in a sexual state, you're thinking more down here than up here. Okay, like it's been literally scientifically proven that more blood leaves your brain and goes down there when you're in that sexual state. So you're thinking less. So that thing that pushes you over the edge greatly affects your vibrational frequency because it's helping you reach sexual bliss. So that's just one thing I wanted to add in.
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, like again, with like even OnlyFans during quarantine, so many people, right? We were all kind of isolated from that kind of human connection. So, of
Hmm.
course, porn rises, OnlyFans rises. More people
Yep.
are not only spending their money, their time, their energy, their creation force, but what are they spending it on? Things that a lot of the times, as soon as you're done releasing, you're gonna X out, you're gonna try to forget, you're
Swipe
gonna be
back.
like, all right, that didn't happen. Like, wow, did I really?
Yeah.
But that's the reality. And so, even in like we can see in society, this isn't something that you can really talk about freely. It's something that has so much shame around it, has been programmed for so much shame. And I know we talked about like health in school, like
Yeah.
that, like my
That
mind
man,
blow, like what? Like
the
all
things
you
we
learn
weren't
is
taught.
you learn nothing except this is what a sexually transmitted disease is, and don't have sex. That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
And so literally like wow, wow. So it's not like what does that even mean? Like energetically, why not? Why do these things even happen? It's just like don't do
Hmm.
that. And when they put those images in your mind, right? Like we're all gonna do what people say not to do
Yeah.
because we're curious like that,
Yep.
unfortunately.
Rebels. Rebellious.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they're putting in these images of horrible diseases and they're like, all right, this is what's going to happen. They're literally programming you for this is what's going to manifest, all right? Like,
Hmm.
why is the health teacher always like the football coach? I just would like to know.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, this is how we're teaching like society.
You're right.
Like, don't talk about it, don't have it, don't, like, put a whole bunch of shame if you do. And then we wonder why in society there's so many broken relationships, why there's so many
Hmm.
people that are like, all right, like let's go on Tinder, let's go on Bumble, let's go on Grindr, let's just like find someone to fuck and then leave. And then you
Hmm.
wonder, why do I feel so empty? Do I feel so shitty? And it's like, are you serious? Like
Yeah.
you took that sacred energy, and you just kind of like we just like dumped it. And I mean, we all been there
Yeah.
to one extent. We
Yeah.
haven't realized how influential and powerful this energy is. But that's the beginning. That's the beginning. Like, yeah, we've all been struggling. Like, and feel free if you have any questions or you just want to share like what your struggle has looked like, especially with porn and the adult industry. And I think the last thing I'm gonna say, because I was telling Ty, and I was so mad at school, like, right, I wanted to design an app for like healthy sexual interaction with people, and the school shut it down because
Yep.
it was too taboo. They were like, you
Taboo.
can't do that. Like, the school shouldn't be involved with something like that. And so there was such a scare of like, whoa, right? Oh, we don't want to even like talk about it. We don't even want to acknowledge it because there's so much shame around it
Mm-hmm.
that is literally pushing people in a place where like they're not safe, even though this energy is what we were all created with. Like, we're only
Yep.
here because you know who had you.
Yeah.
So
And we're
it's
meant to
it's
release that energy.
yes.
We're meant to release that energy. And to move more into our second topic about the porn industry and issues with it. Let me take a brief look at it and make sure. Okay, human. All right. Like you were saying before, like Pornhub removed a lot of unverified videos, and a lot of people was upset because they couldn't find the videos that they wanted. But just think about that for a second. You were upset because you couldn't find a video of two other people having intercourse. What does that? And again, this is not to bash you or to demean you, but if you were thinking like that, what does that say about where you were mentally? Because now you're reliant upon them. Because see, the issue is this. The thing is, most people, the highest bliss they've experienced is sexual. But see, the thing
Mm.
is, sexual bliss is very limited. It's very limited. And it's very brief. It doesn't last that long. When you, not to get too much into meditation, but when you reach the point of spiritual bliss, that can last for an hour, 2 hours. It can affect you for the rest of the day once you get that. So people were upset about them removing videos, and I've seen so much hate for them. Oh, I'm gonna go to this website. I'm gonna go to that website now. I'm like, man, that just shows you how many people they have stuck in their lower chakras. Because like me and Esther was talking about prior to the stream, most of us when we're watching it, we're not thinking about what's going on behind what we're seeing. Okay, these fancy when you watch a porn. Okay, I'm gonna be real here. When you watch a porn and then the lighting is perfect, angles, flipping angles every second, you should know. Okay, it obviously the two people that are engaging, they're not doing this. Somebody else is doing this. It's a whole production going on behind the scenes. You got a director, you got the light people, you got makeup back there, all those things. And guess what? If they do a scene and that scene does not, and this again, this is not to make it porn seem like it's good or bad. This is not about good or bad. Okay. It's simply an experience with a lesson. The thing is, most people haven't realized the lesson. So they're stuck in the experience. All right. So people don't realize it's a whole production going on. And guess what? When they don't do a scene right, they'll stop, go back to the everybody get
It's
back,
a
get your
play.
makeup back right, wait a little bit, wait for him to get right, and they do it over again. It's not it's not how we think or how most people think it is. Okay? Because the most
It's
popular
not natural.
pornos are the ones that are produced by these million and billion dollar corporations. These porn stars that you guys see, to name a few, a Bella Danger, Tiana Trump, they work they work with high profile companies. Okay, so the production is going to be there. There's an entire production. Okay, so you have to just sit there and just think about it, man. Those two people are there engaging, and you have 10, 15 people watching them. They're watching them. So when it comes to the issue with the porn industry, is that you got to understand it's dark. It's dark. It's a lot of blackmail go on, a lot of secrets being held within. It's very, very dark because you have porn stars literally on YouTube right now. You can search this. They speak out about it. Like Mia Khalifa said,
Yeah.
doing porn is like getting a tattoo on your face. It never goes away. and people will always see you as for that. You see somebody with a tattoo on their face, the first thing most people are gonna think something negative, or something's wrong with him, or he's been to prison, or he's crazy, something like that. They're gonna think that. Okay, Mia Khalifa hasn't did porn in years, but people will always know her for that more. And even she's spoken out about it. She's spoken out on it. So understand, the porn industry is very, very dark. And you said that OnlyFans rose in revenue during the quarantine. Here's why I think that happened. I think people are leaning more towards homemade things than the things that are very
More
highly
authentic.
produced. Things that are more authentic, things that are more raw. I think people are leaning towards that more because it's people making millions off OnlyFans. I mean, they're making
Yeah.
millions off OnlyFans. Like the girl, Bad Baddie or something like that.
Oh my
She
God. Like a
created,
million and like as soon as she
yes,
opened it. Yeah, no. I'm like
like,
I want to hop on that because
go ahead.
again, like this is our money is what we value. If you value, that's cool. But like that's what you're investing in. So what are you getting back? All right? Like I'm really
Exactly.
big with whatever energy you are investing, that's going to come back. So how is it coming back to you?
Hmm.
Like OnlyFans, cool. Like I see 9 hours, like they got a cooking video. Good for you. Okay. Now you know
Yeah.
how to make some food. But like if you are not aware and you're just going on impulsive emotions of that literal like lustful desire of like, yo, I just want this, then what are you getting back? Because if all you're getting back is like a kind of a guilty conscience and like, all right, I guess I gotta go on to the next thing, then you need to
Yeah.
evaluate where you're putting your energy because that's not really if you only got so much life force in you,
Yeah.
okay? If you invest it properly, you'll get more life force. If you don't, then you're gonna be depleting your life force.
Hmm.
And so I think that's something that needs to be acknowledged, especially like, hey, whatever you're doing with this energy, this sexual energy, be aware of where it is going because that's what you're going to be creating. And yeah,
Yep.
like there's so much. This is the most impressionable energy for your subconscious. It's going to get in there and it's going to
Yeah.
stay just like water for the longest amount of time. And like, it's not bad. Like, I know people are like,
Yes.
they're just like, no, this is horrible, like, condemn everyone, but it's something that we literally need as humans. Like, that's how we were born. We need
Yep.
this energy. But the way that a lot of people, like, first of all, we don't talk about it in a way that anyone can understand. If we do, like you said, it's so produced in such a way that it's not realistic. Like I could go back to the example of my friend, which thinks that all intercourse ever is going to be like what she saw in porn.
Yeah, that's an issue.
Like, no, no.
No.
Like, oh my gosh, this is the thing. So, like, literally, like, don't worry about what everyone else is spending their money on. And again, it's not bad necessarily, but see what are you getting out of it? Is it really
Hmm.
giving you more life force back? Is it really helping you, like, become that person that you want to be, really tap
Especially if you
into
want to
your
be
higher
spiritual.
self? Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Right? Anthony,
Because
like, good comment, yeah. Yeah,
an energetic like beings, we are only looking for connection. But
connection, but due to not inner work, we get the easiest, simple fix. Yes, like you touched on it with like that bliss. A lot of people, they're like,
hmm,
this is the best form of bliss I could
that's
ever
the pinnacle.
find, you know?
That's the
Right? And
that's that's the pinnacle. Like I tell people, and a guru released a video. It's called the pineal gland, feeling better than sex. Okay, when you connect with that, and when you get deep enough within yourself to a certain point, and again, this is not for anybody to believe. Okay, don't misunderstand me when I say this. This is for you to have an understanding. Don't believe it. Don't disbelieve. This is simply for you to have an understanding. When you reach a certain point within yourself, there's feelings that you can access that will blow an orgasm away. I'm telling you this from experience because when it happened to me, I had no idea that that was even possible. So there's sex and orgasm. That's not the pinnacle that you can reach. That's not the highest bliss that you can reach. Okay. And again, everybody that's watching, understand this. If you have these addictions, don't feel bad. Don't feel ashamed. The fact that you are here and the fact that you are watching this, you may be taking notes, may research some things, that shows you are moving in the direction of moving away from it. Okay. So that's already
Mhm.
progress right there. The best thing you can do when you have an issue is to acknowledge you have an issue. That's also one of the most hardest things to do is to acknowledge that you have an issue. Okay. The porn industry is something that people should stay away from, especially early on in your spiritual journey, especially for the people that are younger. The male brain doesn't fully develop till like its mid 20s. Okay. So if you're taking in a lot of porn where it's not even it's not even really what's being portrayed. It's a lot of shame there from even the two people that are involved. It's a lot of shame there. It's a lot of regret there. Even while it's happening, it's a lot of regret there. The males, they take pills to keep themselves in that aroused state. Okay. They take stuff for that. All right. The women take things to help keep them in an aroused state. So even if they're not there mentally, their body is still there. Okay. So a lot of them are going through things and experiencing things that they don't even really want to experience, but they have to do it in order to get that money that they want. Okay. So
Yeah.
you have to understand this. Porn is something that you guys should stay away from, especially if you are younger. All right. Now, are you guys going to do that? Most likely no. Most likely no. Like
Yeah,
you,
that
you're dealing,
curiosity. Mm.
you're in puberty right now. Body's changing, hormones, feeling different, seeing the world different, looking at women a little different now than you were when you was a kid. Because when you was a kid, it was oh, ew,
Mhm.
yuck, girls. But now you're like, oh man, girls. You get what I'm saying? And that's normal for people that are of a younger age group. But the more you watch porn and the younger you are, and the more you release energy to those things, you're harming yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically. Okay?
Programming.
Because again, you're programming in your brain something that your brain is not even ready to fully comprehend yet because it hasn't fully matured. Females, the woman's brain matures faster than the male. Obvious reasons. They carry life, has to mature faster. But for males, it matures a little slower. So for the people that are of a younger age group that are watching this live stream, again, I'm not saying you're going to be perfect. I'm not saying that.
We're not.
Nobody's perfect. Even after
Yeah.
this live stream and you hear all these things about how these things can harm you, you're most likely still going to do it. We're going to be real here. Okay? Because like Esther said earlier, that and prior to the stream, the things that we are told to not do, there's an instant curiosity to do them. Okay? So if you do that, just the best thing you can do is be aware. Okay? Be aware and understand that the models that you're watching. Now, if it's homemade, these two may be into it. They may be into it for real. But for the most part, those
The
videos aren't viewed as
vibrations will.
yes.
Mm.
Those
Yeah.
videos are not viewed as much as those that are the highly produced, the best angles, the best lighting. I'm gonna just say one,
Yeah.
like the thing called Black with the interracial thing that it's very highly produced. Okay, but again, remember, it's not just those two people there. It's a whole production. They got lighting, they got a director, they got catering over there, they got all these things. You can have one person, not to get too graphic, you can have one person in this scene right here, and 20 feet down, it's another person doing another scene. This is how it happens. Okay. So to wrap up my point, the porn industry is very, very dark. Okay. A lot of blackmail happens, a lot of lying happens, a lot of manipulation happens. Okay. And it has traumatized a lot of women. So when you watch that, just be aware of that fact. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot with, and I like Nero's comment, right? Like, is there a way to remove all sexual thought? You can't remove
You
any
can't remove,
thoughts. You can only override those thoughts pretty much. Like, acknowledging them is the first thing. I think a lot of people, and like, I don't want to be like, all right, quick little story. about this man who wanted superpowers. And he went to a mystic that could grant him superpowers. And so the mystic said, if you just don't think about monkeys, I'll give you superpowers. So the man was like, all right, cool. I can totally do that. So he left. He saw a monkey. He came back to the mystic. He was like, yo, I saw a monkey. My bad. Give me another shot. This time he walked out. He's like, good thing I'm not thinking about monkeys. And he went back. He gave it another shot. And like, he then went mad thinking about monkeys. So it's not about really like forcing yourself to be like, I'm not gonna like masturbate anymore. I'm not gonna watch porn anymore. I'm not gonna have these sexual thoughts anymore, because that's gonna drive you crazy. You're gonna be like on the lookout for them so that you can, I don't know, like spiritually punch them in the face or something, but you're gonna get in a fist fight with yourself. So it's so important to actually give yourself the space when they come up, like, all right, cool. And immediately, if you want to rewire that thought, like when I saw a doorknob and I saw boobies, I could rewire that to say like, oh wow, that doorknob looks like it has a nice like locking mechanism, and then focus on the locking mechanism instead of what originally had popped in my
I like
mind. And by doing that immediately, you'll be able to rewire your mind. So yeah, wet dreams are not bad,
and
Malik.
no,
Yeah.
no, they're not. And I had one of those about a few months ago. But to touch on what you just said, about that person saying removing sexual thoughts, you have to understand this. You cannot remove what's a part of you. I'm gonna say it again. You cannot remove what's a part of you. We are sexual creatures. There's no way around that. That's all. Your sexuality is always going to be there. The thing is, you have to put in, especially if you're aspiring to be spiritual, spirituality must be in the forefront. Your sexuality must be behind. You see, when your sexuality is in the forefront, you become more primitive, like a primate. You just it's about survival. You just want to survive, eat, have sex. You're more primitive because of the way that you're thinking, because your sexuality is in the front. So understand this. You cannot get rid of your sexual thoughts. Like Esther said, trying to do that is going to drive you insane because now you're going to be more focused on it. Okay? People speak on dealing with things. Well, the best way to deal with something is to simply let it go. Like if you're holding, I got a rock, it's about 50 pounds. And I ask somebody, hey man, how do I manage to hold this? How do I deal with this? Just let it go. Simple as that. You can only manage things you're holding on to. Let those things go. When it comes to your sexuality and your sexual nature, it's a part of you. You can explore it, but don't get lost in exploring. Okay? I'm gonna say it again. You can explore it, but don't get lost in exploring. All right. Now, and I don't know if we have a topic for this, but I'm gonna touch on it right now.
Yeah.
The thing is, I made a video about porn, and I said porn is neither good nor bad. And people was like, What do you mean?" Well, you got to think about something. In spirituality, you're moving away from good and bad. That's third dimension, positive and negative. They both exist in order for balance to be had, in order for growth to be had. How can we truly understand love if we have never seen hate? If we have never experienced hate? You got to think about it like this. We are here in the physical, experiencing these things, learning love. You have entities that have never been in the physical. All they know is love. That's all there is. But here in the physical, you have polarity. You have hate and love. So who understands love better? The person that has never experienced anything outside of it, or the person that has experienced love and hate? Okay? So you got to think about that. So to finish my point, porn is neither good nor bad. Okay? It can teach people certain things that they like about themselves or that they may want to try with another partner. But you see, most people that watch it don't look at it from that perspective. It's all about the feeling. It's all about reaching the feeling, reaching the bliss. It's all about that. Okay? So understand this. Porn is neither good nor bad. It's simply an experience with a lesson. The thing is, most people have become too lost in the experience and are not understanding the lesson. And when you are aspiring to be spiritual, That is a lesson that you need to understand quickly. Okay. I'm not saying that you're going to be perfect. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. But that is something, if you spend too much time on, it will hold you back. Okay. It will. I'm not saying this to put pressure on you guys or to make you guys feel like you got to get it together all now. No. But understand that that is something that you're going to have to move past. Okay. And we also have a topic called the war on consciousness. And I have another point I'm going to speak on once we get to that. But you can go ahead.
Yes, yes, I love it. And that's gonna like lean into like the sexual energy that we have again, like we all have it. It's a part of our being. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to be ashamed of it because it's not going anywhere. Like Ty said, it's a part of you. So what thoughts may be in your mind that you are thinking like it can be a part of you, but there are distortions, right? There are parts of you that you might not necessarily want, and therefore you're looking to transform them. And that's okay. I think, and I'm just gonna get, I guess, into chakrology a little bit, a little nerdy. Like with the sacral chakra, that's where our sexual energy really is. That's where all of the secretion or all the hormones that are connected to these kind of sexual urges are located, and it's associated with water. So we think of water, there are lots of terms that go with that, okay, and I'm not going to get in them, but when you think like, okay, wet, squirting, there are many different terms that are used to describe
Yeah.
sexual energy, and most of them are moist. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
to just understand that like this energy is fluid, but it also is holding the power that water holds. We all need water to live. We all need water in order to flow, to have that energy within our being. So it's not something that we can suppress forever and just like never hold on and clench close and tight, you know. It's something that needs to flow in order for that life force to continue to grow and expand in a healthy way. But yeah, there's just so much, and I guess you can talk a little bit about semen retention because I'm not familiar with like the kind of like
I got
cult
you.
following that is behind it. Um, but yeah, I do understand like energetically with like the water, it has to flow somewhere. That life force has to flow somewhere. But how, you know, like, is there a good way to do semen retention and is there a bad way to do semen
All right.
retention?
So you spoke on life force being in that how can I say this? Ejaculation, or we're gonna be real here. What people call cum. Okay. A woman's cum contains life force that will do wonders for the male body. This is we're being real here. You're down there, you're doing that. It's like nectar, healing nectar. Okay. The more healthier that woman is, the more healthier her nectar will be. Okay. Now to dive into a little bit about the things that we eat, and I'm gonna touch on semen retention. The things that we eat that goes into that. You eat a lot of heavy meats, you drink a lot of beer, sodas, you smoke. All these things must leave your body, and they exit your body via your sexual fluids. Okay. So when people get together, they be like, "Oh man, it tastes like this, it tastes like that." That's a reflection of how they carry themselves. Okay. Now to move on to semen retention, I want people to understand this. And me and Esther just talked about this. I've done semen retention before on my channel. You can go research 30 days, releasing nothing. I've done that. I've made a lot of videos on semen retention. But here's the thing about semen retention. And this may be an unpopular opinion, it is what it is. I really think that a lot of people are trying to use that as a shortcut to spiritual growth. And it's not. It's not a shortcut to spiritual growth. It's not going to propel you to spiritual growth. It's not. Now, am I saying that you should go
So
around
wait,
releasing a bunch of? Go
can
ahead.
I
You got a
jump in?
question?
Because, like, from
Go
what
ahead.
I've heard, some people think that, like, by holding their seed, they're gonna have like an enlightenment. Like, they're gonna have a Kundalini rising. Like, this is just what I've heard, right? Like, I'm just
I
getting this
got you.
perspective.
I
So
got you.
yeah, I just wanted to jump in
Um,
and say that.
hold it. First of all, holding on to that won't get you closer to enlightenment. It won't. Because I'm gonna ask you something. If you have a partner, how can you be on semen retention? How?
Mm.
That partner is going to want that type of connection with you. as they should. Okay? So how can you be on that? Like I told you before, women don't have semen. So what's their gateway? What's their shortcut? It doesn't work. How can us men have a shortcut to spiritual growth via semen retention, but the woman doesn't when the woman comes from the man and the woman was here first? How does that work? That can't work. Okay. Now, does semen retention teach you discipline? Yes. Can it help you get your mind out of the gutter when it comes to sexual thoughts? Yes. It can do that. But it's not a gateway to spiritual growth. And here's the thing, and I see this in the semen retention community a lot. People will do what people call relapse, and people will just completely bash them and berate them because they released some energy. They'll do that and they'll make these people. And I've seen people make these videos. They feel like they can't do anything unless they're doing that, unless they're not releasing that energy. They feel like they can't do anything. They feel like they can't build an empire. They feel like they can't raise their vibrational frequency. They feel like they can't truly go within themselves. And that's not true. It's about balance. Okay. Remember what I told you guys. Spirituality must be in the forefront. Your sexuality must be behind. It must be behind. But if you're focusing on semen retention, what's really in front? What's really in front? Because you're focusing so much on not doing that to the point where it can increase your chance of doing that, because that's where your focus are. Where your focus flows, where your focus goes, energy flows. That's facts. Okay. So to nail this home about semen retention, it's neither good nor bad. It's an experience with a lesson. If you have a porn addiction and you feel like you have been doing and releasing that energy too much, semen retention can benefit you. It can help get your mind right. Okay, because now you're not releasing as much dopamine. Okay, it can do that for you, but it is not a shortcut to spiritual growth. It's not. Now, I will say this about semen retention and the Kundalini energy. Okay, people that are spiritual mostly have heard about the Kundalini energy and the Kundalini energy rising from the spine to the crown. Okay, now you want that energy to rise. Okay, you want that energy to rise. But if you're releasing so much energy, how can it ever rise? All right. I'm not saying you have to go on semen retention to get your Kundalini energy to rise. What I'm telling you is you must have balance. Okay. You must have balance. All right. Because the reality is this: if you're doing that so much, if you're draining yourself of so much life force energy, how can you ever get your energies above anything other than your root and sacral chakra? You can't get it above there because you're releasing so much. Okay. So semen retention has benefits. It teaches discipline. It does. But it's not a shortcut to spiritual growth. And just because you release energy, that does not mean that you're done and you can't do anything. Okay. Because the one last thing I want to say about semen retention is this: people need to understand how sexual energy works. Okay. Because I see people saying this and it's incorrect. I walk around, I'm just building up my sexual energy. I'm building up my sexual energy. Just because you're not releasing sexual energy does not mean it's building up. Sexual energy does not build until you commit an act that builds that energy. Your aura color changes. You get in a different mindset. That's when the sexual energy builds. Okay. It's not building just by you holding on to your energy. All right. So in closing, semen retention teaches discipline. Will you need discipline and spirituality? Yes, you will. But do you have to be on semen retention forever to be spiritual, to raise your vibrational frequency, to tap in deep within yourself, and to experience a Kundalini energy rising? I'm telling you this from experience. No, you do not. Okay. So that's my point on semen retention.
Okay, awesome. All right. I feel led to share, I guess, on the other side of things. Like, I don't really think I respect and understand discipline is important. Like, again, the sexual energy is really fluid. It's easy to kind of see it wherever you go. You can pretty much inject sexual energy anywhere. That's why Rule 34 is a thing. So, with that being said, you have to have discipline when you are using this energy and knowing what you are directing it to. And I know I've talked before in a video about the Iago face and how that's actually correlated with
Hmm.
the third eye and direct manifestation and was used during Atlantean times, and this is a little conspiracy theory, but it was used during Atlantean times to direct that energy for the weapons of war that they had. So there's like a whole other part of how you focus that energy and where it's going, because that is how it's going to be manifested. That's how the energy where it's going to flow to. And yeah, like the more I learn, I think that there's that big idea of discipline, of actually holding yourself accountable. And it's okay because no one can always be perfect all the time. We are human, like we're gonna have temptations and sometimes we're gonna succumb to them. But being able to admit that and not be ashamed of it is
That's
again
key.
something really, really powerful. I feel like for females, it's a little different. We tend to be more open and like just historically, like shame is something always been there. So it's like, fuck it, bro. But
Yeah,
absolutely, like you want to make sure that you're using it, like you're using that energy correctly. For females, like, okay, you could go about and like be as loose as you want with your energy, but you're going to be creating things. You're going to be birthing things into this world, not just children, but like whatever ideas are in your mind. So if you're just using that energy and not actually paying attention to where that energy is coming from, how you're directing it, then you're indirectly, that's still going to pop up. That's still going to be created. So that's why it's so important that when you are releasing, you have a focus and that focus is resonating on the higher frequencies. Because, yeah, like 80% of the population, they're stuck in those lower chakras without realizing it. It's either they have a fear of not being able to let go of something, they're not really grounded, they just have so much energy with their sexual energy that they can't control it and it controls them emotionally, or they just have a really low sense of self-worth and don't understand that they're divine beings that came here for a mission. And I think that when we look at porn, we could see a lot of these things, like, and this is not to like throw any judgment or hate because we've all been there, but like when
yeah.
you watch porn, you don't feel grounded, you don't feel nurtured, you don't generally have a relationship that you can turn to that can help you in the way that you're looking for. You also are probably being run by your emotions to some side because it's like, yo, I feel this way, so I'm gonna do this thing. I feel this way, so I'm gonna do this thing. And you're not actually being like, I feel this way, I'm gonna control my emotions, I'm gonna do the other thing. And then ultimately, like when you're done watching porn, we all know when the spirit leaves you and you're stuck looking at what
Yeah.
you've just done, there's just that feeling of like, that does not help
Guilt,
your confidence,
shame.
right? That is like the opposite of what we want. So there's a lot of energy that can be addressed and transformed when we look at these, and I know we're going to talk about that a little later. But Kundalini, like that is the serpent of energy that is in your spine and rising up. And
It's an
so
intense
whenever you
experience.
are, yes, and the snake doesn't always go directly up, especially if you're in your lower three chakras and you can't control them. That snake's just gonna bite everything around you because
Yeah,
you're not
yeah,
controlling it.
yeah.
So
You have to
yeah.
move it. You have to move it. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly. Like you have to actively like be like, all right, Snake, we gonna move up. We're gonna use that
yeah.
awareness and we're going to rise up. We're gonna rise the frequency
Yes,
because if not,
you're
it's
right.
gonna bite you. It's gonna bite you. It's either gonna manifest in not feeling stable, whether it's you can't ground yourself in your manifestations or feel nurtured in the physical realm, or you're just literally being run by your emotions because you can't control them and you just don't feel like you're valued the way that you want to. These are all things that snake, that serpent energy that comes with the Kundalini is showing a reflection. So it's just
Mm,
important to bring awareness to this. Like whether you practice semen retention or not, is where that energy is going. And like it doesn't matter what gender you are. Probably shouldn't release every single day, although I can't judge. Maybe you have a special condition, right?
Yeah.
You know, but generally speaking, that's creating a tear in your aura, and that's actually the energy is leaking out of it. So instead of creating something that's benefiting you and building connections that are fostering more flow, it's generally like you can literally think of it as someone like pierced into your aura, and all of that energy, whenever you feel that sexual urge, the more that you actually get run by those emotions, the more you're creating a bigger and bigger hole in your aura, and that energy is leaking out of it. Yeah.
So first of all, I agree with everything you just said. I want to touch on sex and the connection that happens. Okay, people got to realize this. You see porn stars have a sex with a lot of people. That is actually very damaging. Okay, here's why. When you two connect, everything that you are, everything that that person is that you connect with, you take upon yourself. Eating habits, unhealthy patterns, energetic vibrational frequency, smells. You take this upon yourself. That is sex is the closest way two souls can connect in the physical because they're coming together, conjoining. All right. So you got to understand that. So for the people that are aspiring to be spiritual, okay, you got a guy. It can be either way. You got a guy. He's been spiritually aware for 8 months. He's been working on himself, raising his vibrational frequency, eating healthy. And you have this woman. And again, I'm not using this example to demonize women or nothing like that. Okay, that's been done enough in religion. But you have this woman. She's not spiritually aware. She still eats unhealthy. She's stressed out. They get together. They connect. Everything he's done in that 8 months can be gone just like that because his energy has went to her and she has taken upon and he has taken upon her energy and she has taken upon his. Okay. So again, I'm not saying this to make it seem like if you're spiritually aware, look down on people that's not awake. No. But understand when you connect with somebody after being spiritually aware, it's completely different than prior. Okay. You will feel completely different than prior. All right. People wonder why, oh man, I feel drained. Well, she's happy, or she feels drained and he's happy. Well, their energies just changed. Okay, so understand that it's very important where you put your energy if you're going to connect with somebody in the physical. I'm not trying to demonize sex or nothing like that because we're gonna speak about it on our next topic about transmuting that energy. But having sex is not always a negative thing. Even releasing energy via masturbation is not always a negative thing. That will make people that are very strict on semen retention say, "What? How the heck is that possible?" Like, and one of the things I realized when I was watching Esther Joy, the intention is key because you see, not everybody releases watching pornography. I've read and talked to some people who did that and reached that bliss just by saying positive affirmations to themselves about things they want to manifest. Okay. So to move into transmuting that energy, you got to think about it. Sexual energy is very, very powerful. Okay. So if she or he is thinking about positive affirmations, I want to manifest financial abundance, I want to manifest a new job, all these things that amplify. If you can get yourself to reach sexual bliss using that thought, that amplifies the frequency that that thought carries, and that frequency goes out into the universe, and that frequency can greatly help that which you try to manifest in your reality. So your sexual energy can be used to manifest. Masturbation. I know you are big on it. I'm not too big familiar with it, but tantra, masturbation, these things can be used to raise your vibrational frequency. The thing is, mainstream media and society has allowed it to become demonized to the point where people don't even look into something like that. You tell somebody, man, you can master, you can do that and manifest. They're like, what, man, you crazy? But it's actually possible. Now, is it the easiest thing to do? No. And to move away from masturbation and to connecting with somebody, when you both carry an aura, the one you are, and the person you're connecting with, you both carry an aura. When you connect, your two auras connect. They form a completely different aura. That aura is a vibrational frequency that is higher than the one that you two are currently at.
Energy.
That energy right there can be used to manifest. Okay. Not to get too graphic because I know we got younger people watching, but couples, people that engage, they
When they
can't,
come
they,
together.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And remember what I just said, intention. They will have sex and intercourse with a certain intention. They will say certain affirmations while they're doing that, magnifying that intention, magnifying that thought, using the energy, using sexual energy to magnify that thought, to help manifest that reality. So the point is this, and to close up my point about transmuting sexual energy. Sexual energy, whether it's masturbation or being with someone physically, can be used to manifest. I've done it. I've experienced it. I don't know if Esther has. Pretty sure she has. Many people have done it. There's videos on it. When I first saw, I'm like, man, this is not possible. Okay, I do this. Think about that. Okay, now that thing has popped up in my reality a few days later. Okay, I'm not saying every single thing is going to pop up right then and there because not manifestation doesn't work like that all the time. It's not instant. It's way slower. You got to understand. We are in a very dense reality, third dimension. When you're outside this dimension, things manifest almost instantly. Okay, so understand this about sex and masturbation. It's not this demonic thing as I hate to say this, religion makes it to be. It's not. It's not at all. You're aspiring to be spiritual. You have to understand that. Okay? You can go out and explore your sexuality. Don't get lost in exploring your sexuality. Now, let you
Yeah.
take it
All
over.
right. Like what this reminds me of, and I think the last note I wanted to know with like the energy and the sacral chakras, this governs all relationships, whether like a relationship with your mom, your dad, like your partner, your dog. This governs all of those relationships. So being able to master it on one level when it comes to porn and sex allows you to
Mhm.
actually master it on many other levels. And so
Exactly.
that's the thing. Like, all right, God is within each one of us. It's reflected in each one of us. So if you are kind of perverting that or distorting the way you're looking at, that's going to be reflected in those relations and connections. So just being able to have a pure connection with whoever you are with, whatever that connection is, even if it's watching something, clean your mind or be aware that even that being is a reflection of source. Like, and you'll actually be able to see, like, all right, look,
Hmm.
all right, we got it, we got it. So there's a lot. Ooh, there's a lot. But I wanted to touch on manifestation because there are a lot of women's circles where they will teach women how to manifest using a climax. Like, this is something that has been around for a while and it's
Hmm.
probably not going anywhere. And again, there's so much demonic, like, it's like, oh man, like this is so bad.
It's
But
a
in
sin.
reality, like, this is a part of how we are created. The word creation, right? Our inner child, like when we first probably learned about porn or sex, when we were probably really young, one of two things happened. You either hid the fact that you knew it because you didn't see anyone else doing it. It was like this big secret that you knew, right? You were just like,
Hmm.
all right, like no one else, you don't see people doing this around in the world normally. And it's not something that your parents will probably tell you unless you ask. So it's not
Yeah.
something that you really see. So it's like this big secret. But this is still like, that's how you were made. Like, mommy, how were them babies made? Oh, well,
Yeah.
this is how it works. Like, this is something that we're in a society where they want to disconnect you from the literal life force that you need to live. And so not only will they do anything, and I guess I'm getting into a little bit of the war on consciousness to disconnect you from this life force, but they'll also pervert any kind of pure mind that you have about it. Like, we need this to continue creating, right? We need this to
Yeah.
continue, like, as humanity to survive. Yeah, you see so many people say like, "Oh, this is so bad. Like, how could they do that?" Like, no one dares talk about their kinks because that's not
No,
something that's really
no,
right. And right,
it's
that's another level of
so much
connection.
shame. It's so much
Yeah.
shame there. And you touched on that in the video.
Yeah, it's that shame for real. But absolutely, like that energy of actually cultivating connections that are pure instead of, I don't hate to use the word like perverting them, but the more you can kind of see, the more when we talk about spirituality, see like, all right, cool, like source didn't make all of these things to condemn you or make you shameful or make you feel like, oh, like this is horrible. Source made these things because they want you to get closer to them, all right? God wants you to know that like it's within you, it's within every single being. Like you need to look for that connection and respect it in a way that actually will
Mhm.
give you more energy. Like, yeah, it does it.
Like it's ways well people when most people release sexual energy, they feel tired, they feel depleted. But it's also ways you can do that where you feel energized, you feel uplifted, you feel blissful. It's ways you can do that. But one of the key things you have to remember is the intention. The intention. Why are you doing it? Like it's very hard to think in the moment, why am I doing this? Because your mind's already fixated on I want to experience bliss. I want to experience sexual bliss. That's all I care about. I don't care what it is, as long as it arouses me, as long as I get to that destination, that's all I care about. And then when you do it like that, it becomes more primitive and it carries a low vibrational frequency when you release that energy. But when it's ways, like she said, you can do that where it can help you manifest and raise your vibrational frequency. And we don't have a topic for this, but I want to touch on it briefly. Is kinks. I think the kinks people have, can it really can show people if they look into it and think about it deeply their own wounds that they need to heal. Okay, not necessarily all the time kinks, but most of the time this is the case because again, this is not to offend
Yeah.
you, this is not to offend any woman watching, okay? But i've I've I have had my fair share of women I've spoken to, few I've been with. I always notice a pattern. The women that love to say and call me daddy, they always had daddy issues. So I'm just thinking, I'm like, that is like, it's like they didn't grow up with that sense of security from their father. So when they're with their guy that they're with, they get that sense of security, of male energy that they didn't have growing up. So when they get with him, he can in certain moments become their dad. And the thing is, that sounds crazy. It sounds wild because we know what a father is to their daughter. But many women say this, and vice versa with guys to their woman. I
Yes.
noticed guys that call their girl mommy, and this is not the case all the time, but guys that call their girls mom, they tend to have mommy issues. So that's also
Yo.
another thing I want to look into and actually do a survey about that somewhere, either on Twitter or something, because I want to be in a way where people don't have to do it publicly, so people can go back to their own platform and say, "Oh, you do this, you do this." It has to be discreet, but I really think it's something there with kinks and self healing, and you made a whole video about that, and I'm actually gonna
Yeah, you
rewatch that video.
already know. Yeah, because I also feel like we all have certain traumas, and that's just like a little dent in our energy. And because the nature of the sacral, it's like water, it can flow into that dent. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I can connect with you in this way. You can empathize with me in this way. We can get closer because of this. So there's so many kinks, and the more I study it, the more I'm like, wow, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
all right, like each one, and I'm not gonna get too much into it, but each one does. It starts when you're young. Like you probably will already know, and then the more you grow, it's like, wow, it's a part of your love language. It's a part of how you want to receive that kind of love and intimate connection.
Mhm.
So, Malik, good question about, you're a teen, you want to know how to find the right person in life. It's important to know that the more you know yourself, the more you'll know what you're looking for in that person. So, we talked a little bit about kinks and how that's kind of how we like to receive energy in an intimate way. So actually understanding these kinds of energy, of how you like to receive energy, how you communicate this kind of beautiful connection, helps. It helps you be able to communicate that with your partner. It helps you to be able to identify what kind of partner you're looking for. And so it's not something to be shamed. Like I had an ex which they used to be like, oh, that's so nasty. Like, who would ever do that? And then the next
Yeah.
day they'd be like, oh, you want to try? Like, just be honest. Like, the
It's
shame
that
that
shame.
is,
It's the shame.
mm-hmm,
It's the shame.
mm-hmm, yeah,
And
like
that's
for
one of the
real.
things, like if you're in a relationship, you have to, that's one of the connections you're gonna have where you two don't feel ashamed. Now I know in the beginning you're still feeling each other out. You're not gonna reveal everything. But if you be with somebody for a long amount of time, you're gonna have that trust there to express certain things that you like. Okay. Now he asked a question, how do I find the right person in life? Um, Understand that you don't need anyone. Okay. You may want a partner. You don't need a partner, okay? Because people say this, and I'm not saying this is him, but many people say this right here. Oh, I want somebody that make me happy. Nobody can make you happy. They can aid your happiness, but nobody can make you happy. You have to do that for yourself, okay? So to answer his question about how can I find somebody, um, everything that you are looking for in a partner, make sure you are that yourself. Because when you are that yourself, now you're emitting that vibrational frequency. Now it's a greater chance of you attracting that same vibrational frequency. You see, people will say that, oh, I want this person that's healed. I want this person that's not insecure. But then at the same time, they still feel that way themselves. And then they will manifest somebody in their life that is insecure and that is not healed. And it'll happen again, it'll happen again, it'll happen again. And they wonder, why does this keep happening? Because you need to fix that within yourself first. Okay. So to answer his question and to wrap it up, in order to find the right person for you, be everything that you want them to be and understand that you do not need anyone. You may want somebody, but you do not need anyone. I know it's going to be times when you get lonely. That's a given. Trust me, been there. I've been single for a while. I've been there. Okay. But use that opportunity and that loneliness to find the connection that is within here. And then when you find that connection that is within here, you will then realize more and more why you don't need a partner. Okay. So that's just my
Yeah.
answer to his
And
question.
it's wild because I feel like every time you get to that level of completeness where you're like, all right, I'm good. Like, I don't need nobody. Like, I'm good on my own. The person shows
I
up
know.
and they're like, oh, what's up? So it's really like
Mhm.
focusing on yourself, knowing that the more you know yourself, the more you'll be able to know somebody else without trying to like figure out how to know yourself and them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's something that, like, honestly, like with fast kind of dating, like, nothing wrong with it. Like, instead of creating that app, I created the dating app and I learned a lot. Like, a lot of people kind of devalue the connection because of so many connections that they go through. And it's
Yeah.
important to not use that and think like, why can't I find the right person? Why can't I find the right person? It must be something with me, instead of
Mhm.
thinking like, all right, maybe I just need to be patient and focus on myself. Like sometimes, maybe it is you, all right? But that's not to say it's like, oh, like you're such a horrible person. It's more like, all right, what energy are you really attracting right now? Because that's it. Like whatever energy, law of attraction, if you're wanting to attract your partner, then you have to feel like you already have your partner within. Like how would
Exactly.
you act? How
Yes.
would
I
you
like
be?
I
Like
like how you said that.
yeah. And a part with the war on consciousness is that they really like to promote that something without a piece of what the allies are trying to sell you. Like
Mhm.
there's so much consumerism of like you need to be in a relationship. You need this. Like if you aren't married by this time and have kids, we selling you the
Yes.
life. And it's like you don't need any of that. Like so many people fall for it. They feel insecure because they're not what they see all of these big celebrities or influencers or other people, they're not like them. And that's okay. Like, you're not supposed to be like them. They're selling you
Exactly.
this idea, just like how porn is actually literally a play. Like, it's not real. It's the same thing when you watch Netflix. Like, half the things you watch aren't actually real. Like Fast and Furious, that's not real. You don't see people driving around like that. We all be higher insurance, but for real, like, that's the thing. They try to sell you this picture of this is how it's supposed to be. Like, oh, like you need this pill and you need like this thing and you need this. And if you really want a partner, then you better try out this app and you better like look here and here. And in reality, like, they're just trying to sell you something that in exchange will they'll get a piece of your soul for, because your attention and your energy, that's what your soul is made up of. Like, wherever you are paying that attention, that's what you're really paying. Like, you're paying pieces of your soul. So what are you selling your soul to? Is it something that is helping it grow and expand, or is it something that someone told you you need to have and you need to do it this way, and so this is what you got to do? And so, yeah, the Matrix is really like, when I see how fucked up it's like messed with some people, like my friend, for
Yeah.
instance, which can't literally like, the relationships, it's like, I don't know what to do, because in her mind, she's already like, she's in love with celebrities because she knows she can't ever get close to them. And because that reality of actually being a human being is something that doesn't sell the way that they want it to sell. And
Yeah.
so, even though we're like literal, you could say like ancient souls in human bodies, they would rather that you be something that is made up, not really
Yep.
real, not really like, even on porn, a lot of the things we see, like all of those cosmetic surgeries, like,
Oh
it's
man.
not even real. Like, and then you think why people look not anything like what you've been looking for. And it's like, that's what they're selling you. But guess what? People are like, all right, I guess I have to get the surgery because that's the only way I'm going
Hmm.
to find my partner. Like, all right, I guess I need like this pill because that's the only way I'm going to find my partner. And that's what the Matrix wants, because the more it can groom you to believe that this is what you have to look like, this is what you have to act like, this is what you have to consume, the more it can literally will not only take your time, your money, your
Yep.
attention, but also your
Energy.
soul. Yeah. So
And
that, like, the war, yeah.
the war on consciousness, sexuality plays a huge role in it. And I seen a quote. It said they call it the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. That really, really resonated. 'Cause I'm like, wow. Sell you this fake dream going to Hollywood. And I'm not saying if you, some people want to make movies, some people want to be an actor. You got to understand. I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but some dark things happening there. There's some dark things happening there. And you got to pay attention also to the music industry when it comes to this war on consciousness and them using sexual energy. The rap music industry is so sexual, so sexual. I was talking to Esther Joy about this
You
off
wop.
stream. Um, like this video, this live stream right here. If I posted this live stream on my channel, they would most likely yellow market, meaning I can't make any revenue from it because, or they'll age restricted. Okay, and the only thing we've been doing was talking. Now you have videos about Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. They're doing sexual acts, displaying their body, saying sexually explicit lyrics, and those videos are not age restricted. So that right there shows you, and they always on the trending tab. That right there shows you what they want you to consume, what they want you to see, what they want you to think your ideal partner will look like. Because people, a lot of people go around thinking, man, I want my partner to look like Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B. I want that. And then those people will end up getting with a woman that does not look like that, and they'll end up projecting that energy to that woman, and that can cause that woman to feel insecure about themselves because they don't look like these women that are juiced up with all this silicone. Okay, so you also got to pay attention to one more thing when it comes to the war on consciousness in the music industry. And I don't get too deep. I'm gonna stop it here. They are trying to get more. And again, before I say this, let me clarify this. I don't have an issue if you LGBTQ, you like women, you can do what you want. That doesn't affect your spirituality. Just don't get lost in lust. I got a whole video about that. Can you be gay and lesbian and still be spiritual? Short answer, yes. But they want more women to portray more masculine energy and more men to portray more feminine energy. Okay. First of all, you got to understand you are both masculine and feminine, but you do have a dominant energy. Whatever gender you are born with determines that dominant energy. Okay. That is the energy that you are here to mainly project. I'm not saying get caught up in your full masculine to the point where you can't tap into your feminine. No. But what's happening is a lot of guys are too, that's just speaking from a male perspective, a lot of guys are too insecure to share their feminine side, to show their emotions. And there's a lot of reasons for this. For the main reason that the Matrix makes it seem like guys have to be tough, take all these blows, never cry, be this tough guy. And that's not the case, because when you bottle something up, it only adds pressure. When too much pressure gets added, what happens? It explodes. And that's what happens to a lot of guys. They explode because they don't know how to express themselves because of the way that this matrix has conditioned them, not only mentally, physically, but also sexually. They don't know how. Okay, like Esther said earlier in the stream, a lot of people can't talk about their kings. They can't. And for a long time, I was that same way. But now, and again, when I say this, don't aspire to be me or like me. Okay, just take this information. I am very comfortable with the things I like and I'm into, regardless how other people may feel about them. If I'm ever speaking to somebody, I will share those certain things if I feel like I can trust them enough. I will not hide them based off shame. Even if I know me telling them this may make them be like, what the heck? What? That's still what I like. You have to reach that point, not the point where I'm at, not what I am, but you have to reach the point where you are comfortable expressing your kinks and your sexuality. Okay. Not saying you should go out and tell everybody and like your boss. We made a joke prior. Don't just run up to your boss and say, hey man, what kind of porn you want? I'm not saying that. But you should be able to express this with somebody that you're close to. Okay. Because the thing is, a lot of people are I can see it. I can see it. And one person asked me, I watch anime. Okay. Everybody that watches anime knows there's a thing called what? Fan service. We know what those type of animes project. I have a few fan service posters on this wall. So somebody asked me, man, hey, does that hold you back? I'm like, no, because I don't allow it to hold me back. Somebody else coming here, they may see these things, it may put them in that state. But for me, I'm past that point to the point where I don't even really see it anymore. It's just there. Okay. So understand that there is a war on consciousness going on right now, and they are harvesting people's sexual energy through this dark porn industry, okay, and through this over sexualized rap music. Okay, there's no other genre of music on this planet that speaks about sex so much other than rap music. Okay. And again, a lot of you guys are young, so your brains haven't fully developed yet. All right. So also, when we say be careful about watching too much porn, also be careful about listening to too much of this sexually vulgar music, this violent music, because that music carries a vibrational frequency. Just to touch on frequencies a little bit, that music is in 440 hertz. That frequency of music goes to a certain part of your brain that controls your emotions. Okay, it's literally mind control through music. So when people listen to it, they feel moody. Halfway through the song, they might feel upset. They may feel anxiety, anger. Your music should be in 432 hertz frequency. That's the frequency of the universe. You'll get a completely different feeling if you listen to music in that frequency. Now, one more thing, anime music. A lot of people like anime music. I love anime music. I read an article one time. Their music is in 432 hertz frequency because they create their music using natural instruments. Okay, the beats that these people hear in this sexually vulgar music and rap music, that's created by machines. So it's tuned to 440 hertz frequency. So they're literally controlling your mind through that sexually explicit, vulgar, and violent music. And that is my point about the war on consciousness. And in the direction that we're going, helping this planet raise its vibrational frequency and ascending to 5D, you're going to have to not allow that rap music and that porn to hold you back.
Yes, like it is important to know that each person has their mission here on Earth. Like some
Hmm.
people's mission is to create porn, and that's all right. Like
Yeah,
some people's mission is to create
you're
art, some
correct.
people's mission is to create like inspirational speeches, videos, like music. We're all going to create
Hmm.
what we're already connected to. And I think that when we focus a little bit too much on something that isn't aligned to our mission, like Ty has a lot of posters I know, like I'd be seeing, and I feel like that's connected to your mission. And that's why it's actually assisting you in the journey that your soul is on. But there's a difference between, saying like it's connected to your mission. Yeah, even our struggles, I feel like, with porn and anyone here is connected up to a part of the mission because as souls, we had to go through that. We actually had to see what was going on in the collective to actually use that energy and take back that power, take back that control, and direct it in a way where we're actually creating. Like we kind
Hmm.
of heard probably like new earth, this new earth that like we are birthing the new earth by just paying attention to it. And I really do feel like a part of the birthing process is where are we using this creation force energy, because again we're creating this, and this is all connected. Whether you use your creation force energy to consume something or to create something, ultimately you're going to reap whatever timeline you're on. And right
Hmm.
now there's like a big shift with timelines happening between the new earths that are taking birth. You want to make sure you're on the right line, okay? You want to
Yeah.
make sure that you're creating something that is assisting you instead of consuming something that is harming you. And so like whether it's taking the small steps of being like, all right, I'm going to create. And I think something that really helped me when I was struggling with just rewiring my mind when it came to porn, it was actually creating, like, I'm an artist. So I was started to create drawings. And that actually really allowed me to rewire how I was looking at it. Instead of looking at, like, from an emotionally triggered place of, like, oh, wow, I see this picture. Now I'm horny. It was like, oh, wow, I see this picture. Now, how would I go about, like, drawing this anatomical structure in a way that actually like I
Hmm.
appreciate. And so
Yeah.
like that kind of rewiring of taking like what I was taking in and using it to create something inspired me.
Transmuting.
So even the rappers like they're a lot, it's all happening subconsciously. It's happening on a level where they're not even aware of, but
Yeah.
being aware to be like if you're consuming that, how are you transforming that energy? Because it's up to you. Whatever you consume doesn't really make you bad. It's what you create with it. If you're creating some low vibrational stuff, that's what you're going to be known for. If you create high vibrational stuff, that's what you're going to be known for, not necessarily what you were consuming. So if you are a powerhouse and are able to take this lower energy, which I think we all have been exposed to, and
Yeah.
transform it into higher vibrational energy, then I think that's a part of the mission here on Earth. And that's actually going to assist in birthing the new Earth, the one that I think we want to be on. Because, like, all right, we all been there. We've all kind
Yeah.
of released our energy to things that we don't want to see on Earth. But
Hmm.
now is the time to take that energy and be like, all right, what do we want to see on Earth? How are we going to use that energy to really transmute it and transform it? Because they want you to continue being like afraid to even have this conversation and being shameful about it and like
Yeah.
feeling disconnected and feeling like, oh, like this is one part of reality, but it's not really reality. I need to escape my reality because I don't see where this connection is coming from. Like it is all here for you to ground into it. Like porn is not bad, but if you misuse, and my dog's like, nah, chill. But if you misuse it, then that's where it goes bad. And yeah, all right, I'm gonna calm down for a second.
But yeah, one thing that I want people to understand, we've spoken on the negative polarity of porn quite a lot, but understand that the negative is here for you to sharpen your skills. I promise you, when you see people doing negative things and low vibrational frequency things, that helps you sharpen your skills because it is in their darkness that you realize your light. It is in their negative that you realize you're positive. So we're not saying, and this is going to be controversial, but like you said, porn is not bad. It's not good either. It's an experience with a lesson. These porn stars you see, they're not good nor bad people. Okay. Some may do crazy things. Some may, and this is controversial, but people that harm people on this planet, okay, they are neither good nor bad. They assisted this experience. This is going to be very controversial, but I'm going to go there. Okay. Hitler did a lot of terrible things to people. Okay. But it was through, and again, I'm not saying this should have happened. I'm not saying he should have done that. I'm not saying that. But it was through such darkness that the world realized the other polarity, which was positive and light. Okay. So it's very crucial that you guys understand the negative is here so the positive can realize what they are. Okay. We are here to experience something different because outside of the veil, love is all there is. When you're out of this physical, that's all there is. Everything is so clear to you. But while you're here, everything feels so real. The negative feels so real. The pain feels so real. But when you let this go, when you let all this go, then you realize it was just an experience. Okay. You will never, no matter how spiritual somebody is, even enlightened gurus, you will never see everything on this planet and react to none of it. You will never see crazy and negative things and just don't feel type of way at all. Because the day you feel nothing, when you see everything, is the day you are no longer physical. Okay? So it's very crucial that people understand that with porn and porn stars and all these people, don't judge these people. They are doing what they want to do. We have free will here in this third dimension. That is their choice. Okay. Take a lesson from their experience. When you see people doing things, you see people doing crazy things, take a lesson from their experience. Okay. Just to get a little personal, my dad has done certain things that I myself would not do, but I've taken a lesson from his experience. So I don't go through that same experience. Therefore, I'm using him to sharpen myself. Okay. So I just want people to understand that, yes, we are moving towards a new earth. We are undergoing an ascension right now. But understand that you are here, many of you are here, star seeds. You're here to spread your light. Okay. I see people say this a lot. Focus on yourself, focus on yourself, focus on yourself, focus on yourself. Well, if the star seeds was just focusing on themselves, they wouldn't have came here. They came here to assist, to help those people that are unaware of their own light. Okay. Be the light for those that are unaware of their own. You have to be able to step into into that dense energy. You have to be able to be around negative energy. Okay. You cannot let those people bring you down. If those people bring you down just by you being around them, that's a weak point that you need to fix. You can't help like that. Okay. When you come around them, they should automatically feel some type of way. They just say something's different. Something's off. We feel like this, but he always seems happy. People see it. People say it. These spiritual people, they always seem so happy. No, it's not that they're always happy. It's just that they are very conscious of what they're giving their energy to and the reality that they're living in. Okay. So in closing, porn and porn stars, not good, not bad. An experience with a lesson. You can explore, but don't get lost in exploring. If you're aspiring to be spiritual, your spirituality must be in the forefront, not your sexuality.
Yes. And I know there's so much going on like right now, and it's intense, but this is like the literal labor of the birthing of the new earth. Like we done
Yeah.
fucked ourselves, so now we get a new earth to live in. With that being said, like again, you could look at it as a natural world and the artificial world. Naturally, we were born in this world, right? We were born in our birthday suit. We didn't have any clothes. We didn't have all of these programs. And then artificially, we see with the other side, it's like, okay, you gotta wear this clothes. You gotta like have all these programs. You gotta take all of this information in. And so there's a split happening between the souls that are connected. When you are connected with your soul, nothing on this physical plane can harm you. And again, it's not as much as what you are consuming, but how you transform that energy, what you take out of it, what you bring back. Because you could like honestly have the smallest seed that doesn't look like it's going to grow anything and have the
Mm,
biggest tree. So
yep.
being aware of what you're putting that energy into, knowing that you are a powerful infinite being and that you have the opportunity, you have the choice to give birth, to create what you want to create. Like nobody is controlling you, okay? The idea of control is good in one sense because you want to be able to have that discipline to direct your energy. But
Yeah.
again, you don't want to be suffocating anything, especially your soul's connection to you. You want that to grow. And I think it's all about what you want. Yes, be the change you want to see in the world, period.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like what you're seeing while watching porn, if you don't like how you're feeling when you're done, or you don't like the person that you're becoming, be the change. And like, know that you're not the only one, right? Like, if you're watching this, then all of us have been there on some level. And
Yeah.
so it's so important, like the people you see on down the street, like they probably also have similar struggles. Like it's okay. But if you can allow yourself to realize like you're not alone, that even the people that you look at on the screen, which I feel like it's so easy to disconnect, that like, oh wow, this is like actual situation that's happening. Instead of like, yeah, this is just like something I'm watching right now because I feel like it. Like,
Yeah.
wow, this is a part of the reality, and you can connect to this in such a powerful way. So, yeah, all right. Like, even this Miles' question, what about people who take advantage? And if you have any questions, like, feel free to ask.
Yes. If you guys
Um,
have questions, ask.
yeah, like again, I like what Ty said, with Hitler, like even he was that polarizing energy needed so that the other side could come back even stronger and more connected. So
Mm,
this is kind of the same aspect, like, it's the negative side of the polarity. There's one person that is giving and the one person that's receiving. And in this case, it's not something that generally any human being wants, but it also teaches a lesson that at times a soul came down here. And I hate to be like, oh, like your soul agreed to this before you were even born, because it's like
yeah.
no one wants to hear that. No one wants
Yeah.
to hear that.
No.
But I think we're all here to give each other that opportunity to connect. And so when it comes to this idea of like when people take advantage of others, that's because on some level they've been taken advantage of and they're projecting that. So seeing it as more of a domino effect, and even if this does happen, again, it's not what you are given. It's not like what you put in, it's what you put out. It's like, how do you use that energy? Are you transforming it? How are you growing it? Because that's what really matters, especially when we look at birthing the new earth. If you want to perpetuate the matrix you're in, then you're going to play the matrix's game. But if you're wanting to break free of the matrix, you have to break free of those chains.
Yep. And just to add a little more, he said, what about the people who take advantage of people sexually? They must be bad. Again, understand good and bad 3D concept, positive and negative. We just touched on it. The negative must happen for the positive to exist. Okay. They both exist for each other. Sometimes we meet people in our lives that do harmful things. These are people that you made a soul contract with to have that experience so you can grow. I'm not saying this is the case all the time, but many times that happens. Okay. So understand that it's not about good or bad. Just understand that every experience has a lesson. Find the lesson in that experience. Now, obviously, right after it happens, and this can be in multiple situations, people can get assaulted and all that. So it's not like you're going to be able to find that lesson and understand it instantly, but one day you should find the lesson in that experience. And then you should be able to let that go. Because no matter what happens, you can't continue to hold on to it because that will negatively impact you. That'll block your heart chakra because now you feel cut off. You don't want to love anybody. You feel insecure. That'll block your heart chakra. Okay. So when it comes to people that wrong people, I say wrong, that harm people sexually, understand they are neither good nor bad. And sometimes, actually a lot of times, the people that hurt us the most are the people that we signed a contract with in order for us to experience growth and wake up here. And I'll give
Yes.
you guys one example. I was with a girl for 3 years. Okay. I always found myself looking for love in her and for her to love me, seeking approval from her. I didn't even have to love myself. Just as long as she said that to me, I was okay. But you see, that's an imbalance right there. So when we ended, that forced me to be alone for a while. And that in that loneliness, I started thinking, came across spirituality. And I found myself and realized that validation that I was seeking and her from me, I needed that from myself. I found that within here. I found that connection within here. Okay.
Amen. Yeah, preach. Yeah, and like good question, like positive and negative, right? They are divine because you need the other side. We look at the world
Yes.
right now, which is splitting. If everything that didn't happen, that is currently happening, if it didn't happen, we keep doing the things that we're doing thinking nothing is wrong. But obviously, it's
Hmm.
reaching a peak where it's so obvious you can see the split that it's forcing people to wake up, it's forcing people to be more aware, to come together and to see past those differences because ultimately, like the good and the bad, they work together to balance the experience that we're in. When I think of three dimensional, and we live on the 3D plane, or at least our flesh does, so we have to
Yeah.
obey some of the rules. Like, you're gonna have always a positive and a negative, and then there's you. No one is going to be extreme positive, they might be really close, and no one's going
Yeah.
to be extreme negative, they might be really close. So
Hmm.
there's always going to be a balance in between, and it's really about allowing yourself to see that balance and again seeing the bright side of what's happening. Like, I think more and more people are valuing their health and their choice of being able to really invest in their health in a way that is empowering them than more than ever. Like before, maybe you were like, yo, I'm gonna go to Burger King, I'm gonna sit on my couch all day, and now it's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
aware that I got to take care of my body because it is what's keeping my soul and it's really allowing you to wake up. So, yes, God bless everyone for just being here. It's like, it's lit, you know? Like, you need
Yeah.
both of these, you need both of them. But yeah, any last questions or any last
Yeah.
words, you know?
My last question, well, not question, but my last thing is for people to understand again, you're not going to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. You are never going to be 100% positive, no matter how much you try. You're never going to be 100% negative. The most negative people you've ever heard of, I guarantee they did some positive things. Guarantee you for somebody, not you may not know, but for somebody. So to understand that the fact that you guys are watching this stream for this long, then it's a great chance, and this is okay. It's no shame that you have had a porn addiction and you have had issues with your sexual energy. And the fact that you guys are still watching, and many of you have acknowledged that, that is a great step towards healing that and moving on from it. Because, like I told Esther on Instagram, the time for people to be aware and ready is right now because there are a lot of things going on in this world and it's getting very serious. Okay. So, again, I'm not saying that you have to automatically shoot through this phase of mastering your sexual energy or nothing. No, but understand that, hey, I need to get past that. But don't let that understanding force yourself to make you think you've gotten past it. In reality, you haven't. Okay. So just to keep that in mind. And really, thank you so much, Esther, for bringing me on your channel. I really appreciate it. This was a great, great conversation. We said that the stream was going to be like 45 minutes, and we went an hour over that. I'm very thankful for you bringing me on here. This was very great, very great. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. For the people that are watching this back and didn't watch it live, if you enjoyed the stream, Type in Esther's comments below. I enjoyed the stream. Please hit the like button for her, the subscribe button for her, and for my supporters that are new to her, stick around for her content. Okay, stick around for her content. Turn on post notifications, be in all of her videos, all of her comments, hitting the like button because she can teach you guys a lot because she has taught me a lot about myself. Okay, just for a little small story time, I found her because this was a long time ago before I had like 3K. I searched spiritual journey, spiritual awakening on YouTube, and I hit upload date. And I was looking for people that didn't have the most views because that's where you find the most genuine people. And I was like, I clicked on her video. I'm like, man, her energy is wow. Like, it's wow. I can tell she is who she is on the camera. It's not somebody she's portraying to be. And that's when I came across her and we got to know each other a little bit, which led to this live stream right here. So that's just my closing thoughts because my AirPods about to die. They're on 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really been like a blessing because I believe like we are all soul family, and it has been like this last year has, I think, woken up more of the soul family, woken us up more to what our purpose
Yeah,
is here, and understanding like why did we have to go through all of that. And I do feel like it's helped a lot with like, all right, like we had to go through that struggle because the people that we are connecting with are also going through that struggle. And it's only right that we
yeah,
allow ourselves to actually help them and like in the
yeah,
process help each other because like yeah, my dog, he was
yeah.
like
This I've
barking.
I've learned a
Yeah.
lot from this. I've learned a lot from this. I'm gonna watch this back. I'm gonna watch this back.
Same. And I'm so excited. Like, I thank you so much again, Ty, for like taking some time. I know this is a topic that, again, is kind of like taboo. It's something
Yeah,
that, is
no
so
problem.
sensitive. So, like, I really appreciate you being able to talk about it. And I appreciate everyone who has been in the comments for being so mature about it and just their insight. Like, really, like, it's been good. It's been good. Like, just
Yeah,
take a
this is great.
moment. Whew, just breathe it in. Just take a moment to breathe in whatever like you took from it. I love to know if you want to share the main takeaway. And for
Oh
me,
man, my
yeah,
AirPods just died.
yeah, I just wanted
Oh,
to
that
say
one
like,
died.
yeah, the main takeaway I think was just like, don't be ashamed about if you've been watching porn. It's okay. Like,
Yeah,
allow yourself to get closer to source by evaluating how you're investing that energy because this is the life force that you need, okay? This is what you need, period. So, yeah. Well,
just died. Can you still hear me?
that's, yeah, yeah. But it's been divine
Okay.
timing. It's been divine timing. Thank you so much, everyone who just like joined in. Feel free to watch the replay and as many times as you need and share what your takeaways are and where you're at with your journey because we all in this together. We're not perfect, but it's nice to know that we in this together. Yeah. So God bless. Enjoy the rest of your day.